Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch. The NHL lockout is affecting more than just the players.
Each Oilers home game brings us about $500 in parking.
One fraternity wants to prove they can be good neighbors.
I think it'd be just like having a typical neighbor, except there's more of them.
Security footage has been released from an early morning blaze in hopes that the arsonist will be found.
No suspects have been identified at this time.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening. The NHL lockout has been going on for almost 2 months now.
But it's not just players and fans who are feeling the loss. Many businesses and charities depend on the economic benefits derived from NHL hockey. Our reporter Godwin Leung joins us live from our news center with more on that story.
Kevin, over 300 games have been cancelled in the regular season, and with no talks planned between the Players Association and the league, it means that no one, on or off the ice, is getting their expected share.
The NHL lockout has been in effect since September 15th. As the work stoppage continues, local businesses are feeling the burden. Bars like Whiskey Rock depend on the hockey crowd for almost half a year of business.
This venue is so Rexall dependent that when we lose something as huge as the 82 event season of the NHL, it turns us into kind of, I don't want to say scrambling mode, because we do still have our steady business, but it loses a lot of the overflow.
Sports retailers have also been affected by the lockout. Fans are angry, and they're showing it by how they spend their money.
Certainly, Oilers fans are blue-collar fans. We live and breathe the Oilers. And so I think it's emotional for them. So, yeah, it's, for the ones that really feel slighted that the NHL isn't going on right now, yeah, they're not maybe looking at those jerseys or those cap sales or T-shirts and stuff like that.
Businesses aren't the only ones that have taken a big hit in sales due to the lockout. Charities are also struggling to cover costs.
The Brick Sports Central is an organization that collects and distributes sports equipment to children in need. A major source of funds is a parking lot they run across from Rexall Place.
Each Oilers home game brings us about $500 in parking. So if you look at 30 home games, I think is left, 8 in December. You know, that's $15,000 that we're not going to get.
Those who garner spin-off benefits from hockey are adapting in creative ways. However, they are still hoping a last-minute deal will boost their bottom line.
We're all hoping that NHL gets back soon for a variety of different reasons, but bottom line is Canada's hockey and we need hockey back.
In addition to the organizations that I spoke to, there are also hotels, restaurants, and even smaller sports clubs that rely on the 50-50 draw.
What are the Oilers doing to keep their staff busy? Are they laying people off?
No, not yet. They're currently lending their staff to other businesses, keeping them on the payroll and with regular benefits. However, their senior management has had to take a salary cut.
Are there any possible benefits to this lockout?
Well, the Oil Kings and certainly the Western Hockey League as a whole have gained more attention, as have other sports teams and college teams. And I suppose it gives more family time to do other things, like it or not.
Thank you, Godwin. That's Godwin Leung, live from our news center.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
Tips and complaints from the public have helped Edmonton police in laying charges against a loosely organized street gang. The neighborhoods of Beverly and Abbotsfield have experienced assaults, personal robberies, and drug activity in the past several years.
The escalation in violence and their organization has been getting a little bit better, to the point where they're actually starting to branch out of the communities of Beverly and Abbotsfield, hence the search warrant up on 136th Avenue.
On October 24th, police used a search warrant to uncover drug trafficking paraphernalia and $4,500 worth of cocaine. 65 charges against 6 people have been laid, but police are still investigating.
They mimic themselves off of American street gangs. Therefore, they like to have colors and symbols and things of those nature.
Another aim of police is to make sure kids in the area are not enticed into the street gang lifestyle. The gang is not being named to prevent further publicity or attention.
Police are asking you for help in identifying the person responsible for arson in an early morning blaze. Around 4:15 a.m. on September 26th, a fire estimated at $2 million was started in the Shadified Salon and Spa, also damaging a liquor store. Police are releasing surveillance footage, hoping the public will recognize the arsonist. As seen in the video, the person lighting the fire bends down to do so and may have received burns to their body, although the severity is unknown.
That person would have received burns to the face area, perhaps, the chest area, hands, arms.
Police say the suspect may have treated their own injuries or received help from others, perhaps outside Edmonton.
No, at this point.
If you have any information, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. The Garneau neighborhood could soon be home to another fraternity house.
The Edmonton chapter of Phi Gamma Delta is looking to build a new house just half a block away from their current residence.
Adam Woods is a third-year political science major who also is involved with the Phi Gamma Delta fraternity on the U of A campus. With the recent announcement of plans to build a new house, some Garneau residents are worried about the trouble these new neighbors may bring. But Adam assures there's nothing to worry about.
I think it'd be just like having a typical neighbor, except there's more of them.
This is the proposed site for the new fraternity house, which is closer to 109th Street and located just off the university campus.
One of the reasons for building a new fraternity house is the age of the building. It's still structurally sound and does its job, but could use a few updates. Another reason is the fraternity's expenses.
Currently our house is owned by the university, and that's quite an expensive lease that we're paying. So it would be really awesome to be financially independent in that regard and own our own house, which a lot of fraternities on campus do.
Residents in the area who we spoke to didn't seem to mind the idea of a new fraternity house in their neighborhood, but they did agree that there could be the occasional noise complaint.
Noise, sometimes. The only big complaint's been around lately was 2 years ago, I think. I'm not really too worried about it.
For neighbors who fear recklessness and vandalism from parties, Adam maintains that such behavior isn't tolerated.
Anything that happens at the house is usually just a smaller social gathering. I wouldn't even deem it to be a party. We're not even allowed to technically throw parties at our house, and we don't.
The Phi Gamma Delta's development permit application still needs to be reviewed by the city, and the fraternity house won't be able to start construction until that's approved.
City Council is considering offering a new way for Edmontonians to pay for riding the bus. On Wednesday, City Council met to discuss the smart fare notion.
Display the vote. And that's passed. Okay, so
the goal is to allow people to pay for bus fares by simply swiping their business cards. The concept is considered a good idea by most here in Edmonton.
I think it would be beneficial for everyone. I mean, even like say I forgot my NAIT student pass and I didn't have my bus pass. I mean, I wouldn't have any way to take the bus unless they had that system because I never had cash on me.
The new method would make paying easier for customers and is expected to save around $12 million in revenue for the city over the next 10 years. The motion was passed asking that Mayor Stephen Mandel send a letter to the Capital Region Board requesting a partnership to fund the project.
A massive recall for a flu vaccine has caused quite the scare here in Canada. The flu vaccines Fluid and Agriflu were recalled last week when several corrupt batches were discovered. The vaccine contained a questionable white material, which was simply the vaccine clumping onto itself. Lori Schweitzer has noticed people showing only slight concern about the recall.
I have had people ask me, so what is it about the vaccine that's been withdrawn? And so once we explain to them what it is, they're fine. Everybody has gotten, I haven't had anybody decline getting it.
Agriflu and Fluad are produced in Europe, and it has been noted that the vaccine clumping is considered common. There were no reported cases of anyone experiencing any adverse side effects. Health Administrator Fred Horn announced on Wednesday that the vaccine has been deemed as safe and is being distributed once again.
They're calling it the new miracle weight loss pill. Green coffee bean extract has been flying off the shelves since Dr. Oz did a show about it back in September. Sangster's Health says before the episode was even over, people were coming in to buy it. The pill comes from the purest form of the coffee bean. The calorogenic acid found in the bean breaks down glucose and fat after a meal.
And that's my impression, that the body can say, I can use this food that they just ate in the last 12 hours, let's say, and that this can be fuel to give and release energy.
Once the beans are roasted, they lose the acid, which is why coffee doesn't have the same effect.
I think that the green bean compound is one thing that people could do along with a healthy diet. And of course, making sure that the rest of their health is not compromised.
But you should contact your doctor before you start any weight loss regime. Coming up after the break, some students are experiencing driving for the first time this winter.
What you need to know before turning the key this winter.
You don't want to drive if your visibility is significantly reduced. You don't want to drive if you have freezing rain.
I'm Adam Brills, and coming up in sports, the second-ranked NAIT women's soccer team are heading to the national stage. We'll have them practicing before they head out coming up.
Coming up, we had our first major snowfall this week. It's sunny now, but is it here to stay? I'm Emily Fitzpatrick, and I'll have your weather up next.
It's time now for weather, and you know, Kevin, I'm not a huge fan of the cold.
I gotta agree with you, Heather. It's definitely been a chilly week, and these past few days we have been getting a lot of snow. So let's turn things over now to Emily, and hopefully she has some good news for us for the next few days.
Hi guys, I'm not going to lie to you, it's not exactly Hawaii out here, but the rest of the weekend should be okay. First off, it's Calgary with a mix of sun and cloud, a low of 1 with a high of 7. Jasper will be cloudy with a chance of flurries, a low of -1 and a high of 4. Fort McMurray will be a mix of sun and cloud with a 40% chance of flurries, low of -5 and a high of 2. Edmonton will have increasing clouds and more wet snow, with a low of -2 and a high of 4. The average temperature this year is also 4, so we're pretty much on par. The record low was in 1919, it was -23. The record high was in 1949, and it was +20. I wish.
Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
So it's official, winter is here, but we're Albertans. I think we can handle it.
All right, thanks, Emily. Yeah, I'll be sure to put on a few extra layers.
Likewise, thank you.
You're welcome.
With the recent snowfall, drivers can find the conditions to be a huge hassle.
And no one feels that more than inexperienced drivers, including some students. Stephen Cresswell has more.
Herman Nizgi has been a business student at NAIT since January. With the season changing for the worst, he has had to adapt while behind the wheel.
Right now I'm the granny that's driving about 40 until I get my tires or whatever.
It's no longer every day that Herman will drive to class. Due to the icy conditions, sometimes he finds himself carpooling with friends or taking public transit. After a scary experience, he knows you can never be too careful.
One time I was coming up on 97th Street there, and I underestimated the ice and how much of it there was, and I completely went straight into the curb, bent the rim.
You also need to keep in mind that even if you feel like a confident driver, there are still dozens of other people on the road who may not be as comfortable.
Driving at this transitional time of year can be even worse than doing so later on in the winter, when the roads have been plowed and the snow has been packed down.
In the fall, you'll have, still warm enough temperatures and maybe a little bit of sunshine that things start to melt during the day, and then it freezes at night, and then if you put some snow on top of those icy roads, you just can't get any traction on that.
Those would be horrible driving conditions for everyone. And inexperienced drivers should think twice about getting behind the wheel under certain conditions.
You don't want to drive if your visibility is significantly reduced. You don't want to drive if you have freezing rain in the forecast.
For students like Herman, unfortunately the season is just something they will have to become accustomed to. Stephen Cresswell, NAIT NewsWatch.
Adam Brills now joins us for sports, and I hear that you're including one of NAIT's nationally headed soccer clubs.
And I understand that a local unknown took a gold medal in a skating competition.
Definitely, guys, and I cover the top-ranked football team in high school. That'll be coming up in sports. After a long and tough weekend, Caitlin Osmond beat the best of the best in figure skating. The Sherwood Park native brought home gold in one of the premier events, Skate Canada International. After a strong short program on the first day, Osmond was near the top of the leaderboard. She began her first skate with a bit of a slip, but recovered beautifully to take home the top spot in the world-class event. The 16-year-old came into the event as an unknown, as was her first Grand Prix event. When she heard the results, it was almost impossible to react.
First feeling I got was actually just complete shock, but I was just like overjoyed and so excited. It was indescribable how I felt.
Caitlin will be taking a break for now, as this was her only scheduled Grand Prix event. Heading over to the pitch, the NAIT Ooks are one of the best women's soccer teams in Canadian college. After a provincial trophy, they are aiming to add to the hardware with the national title. Ooks were practicing in the Victoria Soccer Club Thursday evening. This year, they took an 8-1-1 record in the regular season before beating Medicine Hat and Concordia to win the ACAC title. The Yan Cadets has had a monster season, scoring an average of 2 goals a game.
Like I said, we have a strong team all around, so every single player made an impact, starting from the keeper, going to the forwards. So.
With the offense ticking at the right time, the head coach is giving a warning to teams that may take the Ooks a bit lightly.
You know, we're small, but we're mighty. We don't have a lot of numbers, but we work really well as a team. And last weekend, we played 3 really strong games. And so for us, I think our confidence is good right now.
They made it to Nationals last year, but lost in the finale. The team will be trying to avenge their loss starting November 7th. The Spruce Grove Panthers are the team to beat in high school right now. The squad is coming off of a 65-8 thwomping of Ross Shepherd. The Panthers are undefeated with an 8-0 record, and it could continue as they battle Jasper Place for the Bright Conference title. After that, it's a provincial championships at the Alberta Bowl. But as coach Chris Fricker points out, records don't mean anything coming into their city championship matchup.
At the end of the day, the rankings and the records don't really matter. This is the city championship, and we're going out there for one goal in mind.
The Panthers, who are the highest-ranked football team in Alberta, will be aiming to head to the Alberta Bowl November 24th at Foot Field. The Edmonton Eskimos announced their Player Awards nominees on Wednesday, and all eyes are on the most outstanding player. J.C. Sherritt is looking to become the first defensive player in CFL history to win the offensively sided title. The NAIT NewsWatch sports crew of Avery, Matt, and I predict that J.C. Sherritt will battle wide receiver Chris Williams for the honors. The West and East nominees will be announced on November 7th, while the league-wide awards will be handed out November 22nd. It's a sport many presume is easy. However, in this week's End Zone Challenge, I learned that getting behind the wheel of a race car isn't that simple. For many sports, off-season training is easy. However, racing in Alberta is almost impossible to do year-round. Almost. At Cantor, racing is possible in any season. They have a racing simulator, which gives the driver the feel of racing on the course without really being at the track. And with iRacing.com, anyone can drive on real-world tracks. Local racing phenom Stefan Radzinski showed me the ropes on the simulator, which gives you the feel of air resistance, bumps, and G-force that any elite driver handles on the track. Well, after Stefan had himself a try, I'm going to see if I can try to one-up him. Probably not, but let's see what I can do. Started off in an easier track, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It allowed me to get used to being thrown around like an IndyCar driver would at 220 miles an hour. After the training at the easy course, I tried out the pinnacle of auto racing in North America, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I did a decent job getting off of pit road, but I quickly discovered that racing doesn't mean putting the pedal to the metal all the time. That'll leave a mark. I guess Stefan had seen enough out of me to give me a really tough challenge, a road course. These tracks involve tighter turns and even more ways to screw up. I made it through one lap, but that was the best I could do. Proof that I should stick to Edmonton drivers instead of top track contenders. That's it for this week's fast-paced End Zone Challenge. Well, I gotta thank Stefan and Cantor. It was a great experience, and it's a video game gone crazy.
It looked very neat.
Oh, it was amazing. An experience I'll never forget.
I'd love to try it too. Thank you, Adam.
No problem.
Coming up after the break, This year we spent Halloween at the campus food bank.
The 6th annual trick-or-treat event took place on Wednesday.
Definitely an awesome night. We have like a great group of volunteers this year, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the amount of food we bring in.
Next up in entertainment, I give you a sneak peek of a Remembrance Day performance and what's new in the shopping world in Edmonton. Simon's is now open. Coming up next.
News from our campus and around your city. This is NAIT NewsWatch.
On Halloween night, it wasn't just the kids dressing up and heading out, but university students as well.
The U of A campus food bank held their 6th annual trick-or-treat event where participants ask for food instead of candy. We helped out the cause by sorting out the many pounds of food that was brought in by trick-or-treaters. This event has brought in 7,000 to 8,000 pounds of food in the last few years and has a goal of 8,000 this year.
Definitely an awesome night. We have like a great group of volunteers this year, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the amount of food we bring in.
The campus food bank serves students, staff, alumni, and their dependents. They encourage anyone having problems to come see them with no questions asked. They operate year-round and are always looking for donations. You can contact them for help or to volunteer at campusfoodbank.com. With Halloween over, we can move on to other events. Remembrance Day is coming up just next week.
That's correct, and we have our entertainment reporter Annika Nodvate telling us about a Remembrance Day event at the Winspear Center, as well as what's going on in the shopping world. We got that coming up right now.
For all you fashion gurus, you can now shop at Simon's in West Ed. It's the first one to open outside of Quebec.
Simon's is a 5-generation family-owned fashion retail business that has been around since 1842.
We're a family company, so we're a values-based organization. It's not a public company. We're not just trying to be the biggest.
Though without trying, the store is huge. There's 1,000 square feet with a plethora of fashion for all ages.
You could come with your mother, and she would find her place, and you'd find your place, and you'd both feel really at ease in the same atmosphere, and you'd both appreciate the sort of values and the service we're offering.
The atmosphere is what makes this place so unique. The architecture, interior design, photo booth, and mobile changing rooms are a few of Simon's specialties. Simon says, time for a photo shoot.
They'll print it out for you, get 3 shots.
It's really cute clothes. They have different stuff. It's fun. I like it a lot.
An atrium is still to be added, and then the store will be fully finished in December.
Though Edmonton is the host to many large department stores, the local shops don't want you to forget about them. November is Shop Local Month. 'Tis the season to celebrate all the locally owned shops and businesses in Edmonton. It all started at Shaw downtown with a kickoff party. Live Local, a non-profit organization, held a launch party showcasing local businesses
that give a unique identity to Edmonton.
It's Edmonton's 5th year for Shop Local Month. Jesse Ratty says participation has grown.
The first year when we celebrated Shop Local first month, I think there were 4 of us standing in an art gallery reading a proclamation. And over the years it's grown.
To find out more about events or where to buy those one-of-a-kind Christmas gifts, go to livelocal.ca. In preparation for Remembrance Day, the Winspear Centre is putting on a musical feature celebrating music from the Warriors. Honouring Canada's Armed Forces, Cosmopolitan Music Society is putting on a concert. Lest We Forget includes a band and chorus. Special guest Captain Arsenault of the Royal Canadian Artillery Band will be on stage. This year marks the 100th anniversary of Military Engineer Service to Alberta. Jamie Burns talks more.
Because it is a Remembrance Day program, we try to look at the year and think what are the notable anniversaries. So, for example, this year is the 70th anniversary of the Dieppe Raid, so that's one of the themes that will be explored in this concert, as well as 70th anniversary of the Women's Naval Auxiliary as well. So those are all themes that will be explored. This drives home the importance of Remembrance Day and acknowledging the service of our men and women.
You don't need to cancel your Remembrance Day plans, as Lest We Forget at the Winspear Centre is the week before, on November 4th. We're offering free tickets for this concert tomorrow, and if you want a chance to win, just tweet at NAIT NewsWatch, hashtag Lest We Forget, for a pair of free tickets. Just tweet and you might win. Many guys are shaving their faces to begin the month of the mustache. There is a reason for all these greasy stashes. Here's two of our fellow students telling us why they participate in Movember.
About raising money in a unique way. I can't run 5 kilometers. I can't do that, but I can portray the beauty of fighting prostate cancer with my facial hair.
Evan Dagenhart shaved up November 1st for the month-long fundraiser.
If my greasy stash can create awareness about men's health and raise money for prostate cancer in the process, that's huge. And if we can have fun as a group of men together for 1 month, that's what it's all about.
Bring on Movember.
You can donate to the cause through the radio group or for individuals by going to www.movember.com.
Hold on to your hats, folks. River City Roundup is here. You might have to get out those boots and jeans and check out some of the events that Northlands community is offering. It's a 10-day event that includes the Canadian Finals Rodeo and Farm Fair International. From November 7th to 11th, the CFR will take place at Rexall. Northlands raises money for the community through these events. The Farm Fair offers cattle shows, competitions, clinics, and Western markets. Miss Rodeo Canada pageant, public speaking competition, and fashion show will be on November 6th. The winner will be nominated on the 10th. Country music artist Dean Brody will take the stage on November 7th, and Chris Young will on November 8th. Yeah, so you might just want to get out and check that out. But before that, we're going to check out the viral video. Some people just love to be in the spotlight. And due to Hurricane Sandy, 3 guys took advantage of their day off, found the media, and danced in the rain for the world to see.
It's hard to actually stand up, so you dramatically increase police presence around here, making sure nobody's on the streets, because at 6 o'clock Eastern, 1 hour from now, they want everybody who doesn't have a reason to be outside inside their home. You heard from the mayor who said a number of people haven't left. That worries them, but at this point, if you haven't left, don't go out. You probably can't get out of Atlantic City anyway because the roads have become overwashed. That's the ocean.
We might have to try those out later. Back to you, Kevin and Heather.
Thanks, Annika. So will you be participating in Movember this year?
Well, Heather, I don't know. I might have to give it a try, but it won't be anything to brag about, probably. Thank you from all of us here at NewsWatch for watching, and we hope to see you next week.